So, welcome to another episode of The Grill, where we invite women from the community in Dota 2 to talk about what they do in the community. And this month is going to be our last episode to close out Season 2. And we will be shifting to new projects, at least for now. Doesn't mean the grill's over forever, but... and we wanted to sit down and talk a bit with the managers. We thought it would be a good idea to talk about how we run Desoladies, answer frequently asked questions, and just to kind of give you a little bit of insight of what it's like on a community management side for the community of Desoladies. So it'll be a little more casual, and we obviously have Super Frenic and B-Dub. How are y'all doing tonight?
Hi.
Still doing good.
Yeah, we're still good.
Doing well.
Good. So we'll go ahead and jump into it. So we're going to start with just some general questions, frequently asked questions. If you both could start with doing just kind of a little personal biography introduction of, in case people don't know who you are. Super, do you want to start?
Okay, so I am Super Frenic. I do most of the writing stuff for Desoladies. I wrote a few articles back when we did articles, and I do like all the rules and a lot of the announcements. I do the word stuff. And other than that, I am a writer, though my current day job is graphic design. I don't really know how that happened. I don't consider myself a graphic designer. And my favorite hero is Shadow Shaman, and I think everyone knows that.
Yep. Yes.
So, yeah.
And what about you, B-Dub?
I am a graphic designer by trade. I do freelance design when I'm not gaming. I'm also a co-host over on Full Spirit Podcast, and I stream in my spare time, and my favorite hero is Skyrath Mage, and yeah, I don't know. Okay. I live in London and having a good time.
There you go. And yeah, for people that don't know me, I am Olivia, aka Leafy Peachy, and we all are part of the Desoladies team. I don't think I have any specific things. Super's like the word wizard and B-Dub's like the sweet angel, but I'm just kind of there as like the glue, but... yeah.
No, you're super important. What are you talking about?
Well,
I feel like you organize, like, you're like the organizer.
I make the to-do lists.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say that all the graphics and stuff I do.
Yes.
Like, I didn't
such as this one.
Yeah, like in the illustrations.
And the illustrations
and stuff like that. Like that's my role. I actually didn't specify that. I just said I was a designer, but yeah.
Yes, and while we all have different strengths, like we all take part in any decision making and things of that sort. So
But you're the one who usually goes and like talks to the people if there's a problem. Like
yeah. And I'm the talker, so I do the interviews and I also do like the talking in the Discord. So moving on, that's a little introduction. So let's get to know how long have you been working with Desoladies? Super. Or B-Dub. We could take turns. B-Dub, go first this time.
I actually think me and Super started around the same time.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm.
It was like at the very beginning.
It was pretty soon into it, and I was actually trying to think, and I actually can't remember when I actually joined specifically. I actually can't remember. It was a couple of months after the first kind of forming of the Discord.
Mm-hmm. I think it started June 2016.
Yeah, I remember seeing it posted on Twitter and being like, I have to be a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like a couple of months after it first became a thing.
You started off doing like the social media, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I think both of you started towards the end of the summer, but Super, when about did you start?
Well, I went to the TI where they did like the very first Desoladies photograph, but I didn't know it was a thing, and it wasn't called Desoladies. It was just like, any girl who's here, come take a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so it like happened when I was there, but I was just like doing my own thing, so I didn't notice.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, there was a post on Reddit, I think like a month after that TI maybe, And then from there I saw it, and then I joined, and then I talked, and then I just kept talking and no one stopped me. So yeah, and then we did the whole rebranding, and Desoladies was my joke idea that I submitted as a joke. And that's the name of the group. So
yeah, Super came up with the best names during that time period. I remember I was like giggling so much when she submitted Null Taliswomen, and I was like, that's so funny. Yeah, so Super's actually the one that came up with the name Desoladies. So fun fact.
Right, because someone else put like a random pun into the chat, and I was like, "Oh, are we doing puns? Like I can do this."
Yeah.
And I didn't want something that was like very feminine in the name. Like I didn't like ladies first of all, so I was like, "Oh, Desoladies, haha, no one will like this." And then everyone was like, "I like this." Like, oh.
Well, I guess we kind of go with it.
It worked out though. It worked out.
It did. So why did you want to get involved with managing Desoladies? Start with Super on this one, since now it's your turn.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I should answer too. The last question.
Oh,
yeah, I started. Yeah, I joined. I'm so used to being the one that's interviewing. I joined the Discord probably around the same time, like in that summer 2016 kind of area when it was kind of getting momentum, when it was still Dota dolls, and I didn't actually like join the management team until like I think December or January of like 2016, 2017. I think that was about the time when I joined the management team and like got more like involved in like adminning. So that's that. But anyway, so why did you want to get involved in managing Desoladies? B-Dub. Right?
I
think.
I guess because I had kind of fallen in love with the game so much, and the fact that there was a community for women, I just really like to try and get myself involved in any kind of like passion or hobby as much as I can. And I thought, I have a skill set. I am a graphic designer. I can help out and I had some social media experience. I have some skills that I can lend to help. So I don't know, it was like a no-brainer for me. I have some skills and I really like this group, so if I can help out, then I want to. That was about it for me, honestly. Yeah.
What about you, Soups?
So for me, I wanted to get involved in the group just because I thought the group sounded cool, and I wanted to just like make friends and stuff. But in terms of group, I have a tendency to just sort of like walk in and then be put in charge of things. So it happens to me like over and over and over again. I don't understand why. Like even in situations where you wouldn't think it would happen, like even in high school, I was taken out of class and put into like this special leadership thing where we used to go to the convent and do like meditation and stuff. I just took a nap.
What?
I'm like, why did you pick me for this? Like I sleep through every single class. Like what indicates that I am a good
You just
leader?
seem so responsible, Super.
Yeah, so then I did that, and like I ran another group, and then in college I started a few groups, and then I used to mod like a really big subreddit on Reddit. And when I moved into this, I used to live in like an artist group in New Orleans, and when I moved in, they were like, "Oh, this is Super. She's gonna save the art house." And I'm like, "I've been here 2 weeks. Like, why do I always have to do everything?" Spoiler: I did not save the art house. It was way too far gone by the time I got there. But that's a whole
Rest in peace,
whole
art
other
house.
story. But I think it's just for Desoladies at least, I have a lot of experience in a lot of different kinds of areas. So I have like the community management experience, and then the writing experience, and then like the pure organizational experience to be like, you can't write a rule that way because everyone will just break it in this way. And like setting up parts of the Discord and things. So I think that, I volunteered to help because I volunteer to help a lot with different things. But because I already had so much experience in all of the things that we were doing, then I got to take on like more and more of it. Especially because at the beginning, it was just like whoever wanted to do something got to do it, which was super radical and it was great. But then you also got people who didn't have like any background in posting on social media, doing like we had someone do the Facebook who just didn't know how like Facebook worked. So, I spent a lot of time with her just going over it and being like, you can't really do it that way, and you need to
Yeah.
make sure it coordinates with these other parts. So it was really difficult when we had so many people doing so many things, even, you know, teams that we didn't strictly need in the beginning. So I remember I had like a to-do list of things to do, but I would just help out everyone with all of their stuff anyway, because I don't know, I'm not like a control freak, but I am good at things that overlap with what we needed to do.
Yeah. No, I know how that is. For the record, B-Dub never messed up our Facebook.
Oh no,
but yeah, no, it definitely was. I think like when like the management team was like first established, it was like a lot of people, and it was just kind of like, hey, volunteer to help, and it's like, you know, but I think at the time it still wasn't necessarily like a fully formed idea of like what the group was for, and I mean that's okay. It kind of, you know, evolved over time, but I think for me, I remember when I first heard about Desoladies, I think it was like I think I saw the Reddit post or like on Twitter or something, and I was really skeptical of it. Like first joining, I didn't like the name Dota Dolls, but I just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of women that play Dota. Like, that was like in 2016. I've been able to go to more events and like make a lot of new friends in Dota and just like play more Dota and like run into, you know, other women in pubs and stuff. But, you know, I was like definitely looking to make new friends. Like that was probably the biggest thing. And I have made like really long lasting friendships through Desoladies that I probably would have never met these people otherwise. But anyways, that's like why I joined. And then like moving into like management, like I don't know, I just found myself like helping out with small things here and there, and like I had a lot of ideas of like things I wanted to do, especially when it came to content like the grill and like that kind of stuff. So I found that like I ended up just having a knack for like management and like task management and things of that sort. So that honestly, like on a personal level, managing Desoladies, because now currently I do like operations manager. I'm the operations manager for Beast Coast, and I feel like I definitely learned my direction of like what I actually am good at through working with Desoladies, because before I probably wouldn't have gotten involved in like that kind of thing. Yeah. But kind of a long-winded answer, but
yeah, that's the truth. So
yeah, I mean, it really did. It actually is amazing because like one of the biggest things that I hope to do and continue to do or do more in the future is like through Desoladies or anything, you know, the idea of Desoladies is to provide opportunities to women to be able to learn and try new things in gaming and in Dota, whether it's, hey, I want to learn how to cast, like providing opportunities for them to cast in houses or things like that, because normally you might be too intimidated to put yourself out there or be given an opportunity to, you know, do that thing. So like Desoladies did that for me. So I hope that like we can do that more in the future for other people too. But
yeah, I definitely think that's a good idea, and that's what we tried to do in like the first wave of getting all the managers for all the different things, was so that people who didn't really have experience could have a place where they could learn how to do things in like a very specific environment that wasn't going to like shit on them for nonsense reasons. But it didn't really work out because the people who volunteered, they still needed someone above them to tell them like how it worked.
Yeah, like a mentor.
Right. So it was like, the base idea of it is really good, but it just needs more structure because you can't have people just like jump into it and be like, okay, I know what I'm doing now, because you still need someone to show you how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Like having mentor, I think a big thing, like especially in esports, is there is like a big lack of mentors for women in the scene. Like there's obviously plenty of people that are more than willing to mentor others and provide, like, share their experiences and help and answer questions. But I think there's definitely something very important about having mentors that you can identify with and have experienced the same things that you have, and can empathize, you know, on a deeper level with what you've experienced. So like moving in the future, like a great long-term goal like for Desoladies would be like having like a mentorship program or something, you know, but baby steps. things take time.
We
and
should do that. Let's put that on the list.
Yeah, we have like a long list of stuff we want to do, but so let's go ahead and move on. So what is your favorite Desoladies related memory? Super.
No, don't quick me yet. Hold on, I have to think.
That's okay. I got to think too, actually.
I have one.
Okay,
Oh,
go
go for it.
ahead, B.
I think Boston in general, when we went to the Boston Major, was probably my maybe not favorite, might not be the right word, but most kind of like dear to my heart, because that was like the first time we all met in person, and karaoke at Boston was so much fun.
Oh my god, yeah.
That was like
legendary.
yeah, I mean, that was
Yeah.
the first like Desoladies meetup we did, and that was the first time I met so many people that I still speak to regularly, and like I would call friends. Like I met so many people there, and we were all just there in the same room and just having like such a fun time. And that's, I think karaoke at Boston was my favorite for sure. Yeah, it was just such a blast, and it was just the first time that we'd all hung out together, and made some really good friends there.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with that one. I think like the karaoke night very specifically in Boston was like just, it was so much fun, and every single person was like singing along and like having a blast. We were all drinking and like having a good time, and it was just like really, really fun, and it was just really great because it was like a lot of us were strangers, but like we were all kind of like united in like a community, like we had just met that day or whatever, but that was really fun too. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to jack that one and say that's my that's one of my favorite memories.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Yeah, because that was just a really good time.
I feel like
so fun.
The karaoke in Boston, it was the first time that we got together and we're all hanging out, but it was also just like a moment of like, okay, we can do this, like it works.
Yeah.
Like people like this and they need this. Because there was so much stress in the first few months of it, with people like arguing about what the group should be and if it could be and like what we should do. So having the karaoke in Boston was just like, okay, like we can do this. So I loved Boston too, because there were so many good points throughout all of Boston. But I feel like when we got the shout out from Casey on the TI stream, I was crying actually.
Yeah.
So it was the day after I partially tore my Achilles at was it Rogers Arena?
Yeah, Rogers Arena.
I was just walking on flat ground and my muscle was like, no. So I was sitting icing my leg in the Airbnb that literally looked down on the arena, like super sad that I couldn't go.
So close but so far away. Yeah,
and I was with, I think Requise was there with me, who's been in the Desoladies house for TI like twice now.
Yeah.
And we were just watching that and we got a shout out, and I just started crying in the apartment, because it's like, we've done something that's really cool. And it was so cool to see the whole short they did with the Reina de Copas tournament.
Yeah, I think that's that was touching. I don't think I was actually awake for that shout out. I think I was still sleeping in my Airbnb. But
I didn't watch it live either.
Yeah, because like I knew that, obviously we had done the grill with Casey beforehand, so she, I had talked to her, we had talked to her a bit about, Desoladies, and it was just really nice. I mean, even just to talk to her about it, because Casey's such a genuine, like, wonderful person. And I woke up and I think Kyle or something, or maybe I just logged onto my laptop just to like check social media, and I saw like people were messaging me to be like, Desoladies got a shout out, and I was like, I gotta watch the Twitch clip, so I'm like running, I'm like, oh, and I like cried in my room. I was like, oh, it's so nice. But yeah, that was really good too, because it was just nice to be. It's not like even about like, oh, all the work's worth it, but like, because that's not the point, is not to necessarily get like public shout outs from like people that are well known. It was just like really touching to not only be included along with like in that like the Reina de Copas tournament, because those women work really, really hard and like are doing a lot for their community too. And I don't know, it was just really meaningful, and it was just really nice to see like maybe just a tiny bit of like impact that you can have from, you know, on a community, even if it's just one person that's just like, oh, I didn't know there's a community for women, and you know, they make a new friend or make a bunch of new friends, and that's like just really meaningful. But
yeah,
I'm gonna like cry again.
Oh.
It was
no crying during the stream.
I know. So so what are you most proud of in Desoladies? What do you think is
goodness.
Yeah, that's a hard one, honestly.
So I mean, my answer for this was actually I was going to say the shout out.
Oh. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
I didn't look at the questions. Maybe I should go back.
No, I think, I mean, if you can definitely use that. That's
fine. I was proud of that.
Yeah, I'm proud of that too.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to come up with a different answer. My goodness. Okay.
I think
like, I think in general, hearing feedback from members and seeing people recommend Desoladies to other people when you have kind of no part in it at all. Like, if you're on a Reddit thread that's talking about, are there any women's groups and stuff like that, and you see people suggesting Desoladies and they say, oh, you know, they have a good reputation and they're really nice over there, that really warms my heart and like makes me think that we're doing a good thing here, because it's not related. We haven't pushed this at all. This is other people saying, you know, what we're doing here is great, and that's a really, really lovely thing to see.
I think for me, it's kind of along the same lines as that, but like it really warms my heart and makes me proud of like the community that we've sort of built when I see like members of our community like in the Discord, like they need help with something, or you know, they need recommendations, or they just need to talk to someone, and there's always like people will just chime in, like even people that don't talk very often but like read the chat, they will chime in and be like, hey, you know, like I can help you with this, or you got this, or you know, whatever. And it's really touching to me to know that like they're like the members of our community more or less understand that like they have a community there, like they might, even if they're not super active, like they can come to us like if they need something, or if they're having like a bad time or something like that. Like it makes me proud to see like women support each other in that way. And on top of like B said, when like a member, you know, even just like randomly lets us know to say like, hey, thanks for what you're doing, like you know, this is a really great community, I'm glad that I found it, or you know, seeing people recommend it really makes it like, you know, mean a lot. It makes me proud.
Yeah.
I think what I'm most proud of, I'm gonna say, was last year. I think it was last year's Extra Life, because we had so many streamers going. There was one year, I can't remember which year it was, but instead of doing a 24-hour stream, we had like a 38-hour stream or something. And we had so many time zones. And it was the weekend that daylight savings time changed.
Oh my God, yeah.
And we didn't drop it at all. Like, we had no overlap and we had no dead air. So the sheer fact of like being able to organize that and having people who are like, yeah, I want to be part of this. And then we met our goal. I think every year we've done it, we've like exceeded
we've
the
gone
goals
over
that
our
we've
goal.
tried to do for charity streams. So I was really proud of that. And I think that's what because it took so much. It took community, it took people, it took moderation, it took organization, it took just the sheer like goodness of people's hearts to donate. So
it
was a lot of work.
It was, but you had to make a bunch of graphics, you know, we had to like have a schedule, organize everything, you know, make sure everything's in line, update, you know, stuff. It was like a long, and it was like a whole over a day.
Make sure everyone who was streaming had like the mods they wanted to have in case no one else was online during their stream. And all the Twitter, so like, you know, this person's wrapping up, this person's going live.
So There was a lot of
So
moving
much work
parts.
goes into that.
Yeah, and like the frickin' time zone shit. So
Every
annoying.
year.
Yeah,
Why
it's
do
always
they-
on
why
that
do
weekend.
Why do they schedule extra life for that weekend? I don't know.
Just to punish us, honestly.
Yeah.
But like when you're watching, you don't think it takes. You don't necessarily think that it takes so much to do it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
really, really does. Like there's a lot of work that goes into making sure, like they have the stream key, like they're even on the channel.
Yeah.
Just to put someone on the stream and make sure they have like the graphics, like it's a lot of invisible work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in general, like community management is tons and tons of invisible work that no one really considers or thinks about until you're actually a community manager, which, you know, it's fine, but definitely there. So those are pretty much like the general questions. So we wanted to do sort of like a round table where each of us will have a few questions for each other, and we can answer it ourselves too. I think that's fine too. So does anybody want to go first with their first question? Or do you want me to kick it off?
I wrote the other questions.
I mean, my questions for you guys are not serious.
That's
They're just
okay.
kind of
That's okay.
fun.
Go for it.
So I will ask you, if you could be a Dota hero, which one would you choose and why?
Nature's
I would
prophet.
be-
So I could teleport anywhere.
Yeah, if you could be one, if you had to be a Dota
Wait, would I
hero
have to
choose
look
had
like-
to be one.
Would I have to
Yes,
look
yes.
like them for the rest of my life
Yes.
too?
Yes.
Ooh, I don't know about nature's prophet.
You know, so many children too. Like I wouldn't want that.
That's true.
Okay, so you had to be them and you had to
Yeah.
look like them, even
Well,
just like on a regular day. Like
They
you're
are
leaving breakfast and you're
obedient
eyeing-
children,
them.
though.
You are them.
Okay.
Like that is who you are. You are them. You get their powers, you get their looks, you get everything. That you sound like them. That's like you still have your personality, obviously, but you are that hero.
I
So
would be
can give you-
Omni-Knight.
Oh yeah.
I would be
Okay.
male model as Omni-Knight.
Like a
And he looks like a normal person, so we could do like normal
Yep.
person things. You could fit in a car. You know, anyone with 4 legs is not getting into a
Yeah,
car.
It's true.
And he sounds normal, and
Mhm.
he just like none of his powers are so distracting that like, you know, it's not like global silence. Oh, I could be silencer. Oh, I
That
need to
would
think
be
my answer.
nice. Just like, everybody shut up for a second. Yeah, for
It sounds like
powers,
it
I would
looks
say
normal.
nature's prophet, but I don't think I could look like nature's prophet.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking
I
like Queen of
get some looks.
Pain, TA. I
Hell
want
yeah.
like cool
Yes.
markings and like.
So I would definitely be either Luna or Morana because I get like a big cat.
Yeah.
Oh,
And also they
That's
both look kind
cool.
of they're both human based, so you could wear different clothes and you'd still be fine.
you can wear
And,
clothes.
yeah, you know, you can still look like a normal person and you get a big cat
Mhm.
and yeah, I think Morana would be kind of cool because you get to go invisible.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be cool. Although you have like a deadly arrow, so but you don't have to use it. This is the thing, you don't have to use your
Right.
abilities.
And depending on how good you are with skill shots, maybe you won't even land it, you know? Like,
Yeah.
if you
That'd be
try.
Yeah,
horrible.
knowing me, I would never land it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably just go with, like, TA or something.
Yeah.
I think she's cool. And I could,
She
like,
is cool.
I could just wear, like, a mask all the time. Like the fashion masks. Yeah. Just tell people I have a skin condition.
I was thinking like Quap, but I wouldn't want to be like a Smurf color.
It's the wings, because I don't think she can
Right.
fly with the wings. If she could fly with the wings, I would say Quap. But if they're just there, that sounds like a real pain in the ass.
right.
Also,
But, like,
she is blue.
she's-
Wait.
I would happily have, like,
Wait, is she
a
blue?
cool...
I'm having a moment.
Yeah, she's blue.
She's blue.
She is blue.
bluish.
Okay.
Yeah, she's blue. I love the horns. I would love to have horns. But,
Goodness.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. But I don't want to have wings that that are basically unusable.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she's always walking, right? You know, she can blink, but
Blink would be useful.
That would be useful.
yeah.
You get. Yeah.
Be
you
like,
could get
oh
around
man, I
crazy.
can't reach that box of chips. Blink over and then just like blink
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
But you
I
have to
still
wait
think
for
I would go with
you have to wait for the
omni.
cooldown though. If you're blinking around, you'd have to wait. So
Yeah.
you'd go and get your snack, and then
Crystal
you'd have to
Maiden would be
wait.
cool too, honestly, like freezing stuff.
Yeah, that'd be
And you
cool.
still look like normal. Like not like weird
Mhm.
color skin.
Yep.
Or,
Like Lena, you couldn't be Lena because you didn't have fire all the time.
Oh yeah, Lena would be cool too.
Mm.
But you would just have fire.
Oh yeah, she always has fire in her hands, right?
Right.
Oh yeah.
So again, can't drive because you would just set the
Yeah, you
wheel
just
on
melt
fire.
the steering wheel.
Oh yeah, that's true.
PA would be like great if you like were in the like a literal assassin, but not for like every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lanaya.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll do the next question. Have you ever done anything really embarrassing at a Dota event?
Yes.
And if so, what was it? That's
Wait,
two
I
questions.
think I know both of your
but-
answers, but go for it.
Yeah.
Wait,
I've done a lot of embarrassing things at Dota events.
Wait,
I mean,
go
want
for
to hear
it.
what I want to hear what Super thinks. Wait, you?
No,
you
no,
said
just go
you
for it.
think-
Hold on.
yeah,
I
she'll
feel-
she'll
I'm, like-
confirm whether or not that's the one. So
Yeah.
you say it first, B-Dub.
My initial one was when I actually, Peachy, you were there for it. There's probably more embarrassing ones, but this is the one that sprung to mind instantaneously. Was when I think you introduced me to someone, and I tried to shake their hand, but I didn't grab their hand. I grabbed their wrist,
Oh yeah.
and then
Yeah.
we were just like holding each other's wrists, and then I was like, this is the weirdest handshake I've ever done. And then after we said our goodbyes, we were walking the same way. And like, you know, you're kind of like, well, it's really great to meet you. And then you walk down the same street
Yeah.
and you're walking the same way. And they were behind and they were like, well, this is awkward. And I was like, I know. Ah.
Yeah. I remember
Pains
that.
the
I'm trying to
inside,
remember
yeah.
who it was, but I don't. I do remember the wrist grabbing, and I was like,
Yeah.
See, I thought you were gonna say when you ate the bug.
oh yeah.
Like that was just kind of gross. I wasn't embarrassed though. It was like it was just me and Peachy. Like I mean, it was that, and actually that happened just afterwards. That was not a good day for me. We were on our way to pick up
Oh
the food,
yeah.
and then I ate the bug. That literally happened within like the same half an hour.
My goodness.
I shook someone's wrist and then I ate a bug.
That was so funny. We were just talking, and B-Dub's like blah blah blah, and I see like a tiny fly go in her mouth. And she's like, I was like, did you just eat a bug? She's like, ew, I just ate a bug.
and
It
it
tasted
tasted floral. That's what
Yeah.
got me.
It's like it just dissolved in my mouth, so I couldn't like spit it back out. I don't know where it went.
Oh, that
And it
was
was
funny.
so like the flavor was so overpoweringly like floral. Oh,
Oh
was
my
disgusting.
god.
I think of that whenever I see like a fly near me. It tastes floral, and it's just like I can't get it out of my
Oh.
brain.
it was so bad. They must have been like on a flower or something beforehand, and I just
Yeah.
took the full force of that.
I think
Ugh.
for mine, which is probably like enough people know about it that like I usually say this is like the most embarrassing thing, but it was like a twofold embarrassing thing because it was at the Boston Major, and it was like the Reddit pub crawl, and it was like on this second level of a bar. And, like, I'm, like, so excited. I'm, like, running up the stairs, and I trip, and I fell in front of everyone, like, up the stairs at the very top, and, like, wiped out. And, like, everybody looks, and, like, and I was like, I'm fine, guys. Like, I'm good. And I, like, walked it off. And then I was talking, and then I went over, and I said hi to Moo, and I...
This is the part I remember.
Yeah, and I was, like... I felt so bad, because I was, like, I always associate him with Digital Chaos, like, I just always do, because that was like the first time that team that I saw him playing on, and Digital Chaos was still in the tournament at that point, but I think he was on Complexity at that time, and he had been eliminated, and I was like, oh, so when are you gonna play tomorrow? And he was like, what? And I was like, oh. He's like, we're not in the tournament anymore. I was like, oh right, you're on Complexity now. Sorry, like, just gonna leave now. He was like, he was cool. He was like, it's okay. Like, I was like, yeah, sorry. I'm just like flustered because I just fell on the floor in front of everyone. And then now you just got eliminated today, and I just reminded you.
Yeah.
But Yeah. What about you, Super?
My most embarrassing one, nothing like immediately comes to mind because I never like fallen in front of people. Um, so when you said moo, I remember that I have seen moo at least twice in a bar now and ignored him because I always think it's a guy who looks like moo, so I don't want to say anything.
That's
So
just that
if he recognized
doppelganger.
me, he's like, that's a really rude girl who's always around. But I always
Oh,
just think it's a guy who looks like moo, so I'm like, oh, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
But that's more of like an internal thing, because then later you'll be like, oh yeah, and then Moo was there, and I was like, oh, it was him.
Yeah, doppelganger.
That's just like my I've ignored him I think at least 3 times actually, because during Boston he came to buy a beer at the stand where I was interviewing the guy selling the beer for an article, and I ignored him. Like I just always ignore him.
Didn't even acknowledge
If you ever
him.
see this, like I'm really sorry. I just always think it's a guy who looks like you, but
Yeah.
I guess you look like you because you are you. So my bad.
That's funny. Do you have a question for us, Super?
A question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I just thought of it now, but I think it's a good one.
Okay.
So if you didn't have to worry about the expenses or logistics, and you could have a TI in any city, in any place, where would you put it?
Well.
And you just got like to go to it, so you didn't have to pay for like flights or anything.
Oh, okay. Probably. London? That would be kind of cool.
I was actually, even though I live here, I was probably gonna say London too.
Yeah.
Which I kind of defeats the point because, you know, if it's anywhere and you could go to any of them, why would I have it here? Because I live here. But I just think it'd be such a good venue, a location. London's a great city. I don't know. I just think it would work so well.
I would still be able to like communicate and like be able to navigate without feeling like completely lost, but also like it would be really cool to go to London if I didn't have to pay for anything, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that was
like
cool.
a dream scenario.
What about you, Super?
Also, like,
I would probably say Salzburg, just because I want to go back to Salzburg, but I'm probably not going to get the chance. But if like TI were there, I could go to a TI in Salzburg and be like, great. It's such a pretty city. And I was there for a month when I was like 15, and I would just like to go back at some point because I have a lot of good memories there. And it's just like, it's a really nice place. I always try to convince people to go to Salzburg or like Austria when they're going to Europe. Sorry, London,
cool.
but
yeah. Yeah. I think a European major or European TI would be cool.
Or Berlin, maybe. Berlin would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Berlin as a city.
Mm-hmm.
It has like really good like transportation links, and it's got just like such a fun kind of atmosphere to the city. I think that's like one of, not the most important things, but if you want to have an event in a city, is if it has like kind of like fun, vibrant atmosphere, that just makes it so much better. And yeah.
Okay. B, what's your next question?
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Being able to teleport anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's mine. That's mine too. That is mine.
Y'all have the same answers. I need to think of a different answer.
I know, right?
It
would just be nice.
Like I have an answer for the superpower question, because like it's not.
Is it the same one?
Uncommon.
What would it be?
I don't know. I can't remember. Like I definitely had like a 2-hour discussion with people about like, oh, you don't want to be invisible because like blah blah blah. Like you still couldn't rob a bank because you wouldn't get inside. Like
you could sneak in through the door right as the security guard's about to close it on the way out.
But you still like have to get yourself out. Like you still have
you
physical
hold on to
form.
the stuff and then wait till the morning when they
I'm
open
not
it.
waiting. If I'm robbing a
and
bank,
then
I
you
want to
leave.
I don't want to set up an apartment. Like I'm not there forever. I just want to get in and get out.
I guess so.
Also, do banks
You could just like
still,
chuck a
hold
rock
m-
through the, a chair through the glass and then run out with jewels. Anyways,
Also,
sorry,
But then you
theoretical.
could just have like
banks-
super
do
strength,
banks
like punch
not
through the
have,
wall.
like, actual stuff in banks anymore? Isn't it all digital?
Well, if you have
Safety
like
deposit
a safe
boxes.
deposit box, right?
that's
Oh, I was
true.
thinking of a
Your
jewelry store.
grandmother's jewelry or something. Okay, so the best superpower to rob a jewelry store then would be
Phasing.
I was gonna say speed, but phasing.
Kitty pried it up. Just reach in, take stuff, walk through the door.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I really can't think of one now.
It's okay. I think there's a lot of good answers, but as a selfish one, teleportation would be mine.
Teleportation is a good answer.
Just teleport to some cool place. Let's go to Italy for dinner, and then come back home. Let's go to Hawaii for the weekend. Don't have to worry about plane tickets.
Yep. Also, I feel like we have so many friends all around the world. It'd be so nice just to be able to go hang out with someone for an hour or two, and then just nip back home.
Yep.
Easy.
Nip back home.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll just do 2 questions because we are obviously taking time to answer these, but let's see. Let me choose the better one of my 2 questions. I'll go with this more serious one. What has been the most important thing you've learned from Desoladies?
Oh goodness.
Hmm.
Can I say time zones?
Honestly, yes. I can answer it if you guys want time.
I think,
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it, B.
For me, written communication. I think I've gotten trying to express my opinions and what I'm thinking through typing stuff out. Because I don't think I'm not a particularly strong writer, and I find it difficult to express myself typing stuff. But since being a manager and stuff, and if there's been an important issue, I'm having to weigh in on stuff, and instead of writing something that's really, really long and like a huge block of text, I found it easier to kind of shorten that and make my opinions known.
More concise.
More concise, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Just trying to be more concise with
well-spoken.
trying to explain. Yeah, I think so.
Super, did you come up with an answer, or do you want me to go?
You can go.
Okay. Probably the biggest thing that I've learned lesson-wise is you cannot please everyone, and having to accept that, and by extension also being, you can't, if you're trying to please everyone, you will never have your own things that you're firm on, right? You're not going to have your own ideas and opinions. Not to say that you can't evolve and learn over time, but if you are only existing and living to try to please everyone, you're just going to be in this circle of just nothing, no progression. So with Desoladies, like we mentioned earlier, there obviously, and still are, people that have different ideas of what they think it should be. They come looking for something that maybe they don't find. And that's okay. We can't be all things for everyone. And I think that's something that definitely, over time we've had to develop what our core principles are and then stick with it. And you have to kind of accept that some people are going to disagree. Some people are not going to be happy with you. But that's just kind of a part of, being a community and being a good leader and having clear cut, ways of how you want something to be run. So that's probably the biggest thing I've learned.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I didn't necessarily learn it here because, like I said, I've run online communities before, and I still have messages saved where people are just like, "You're a tyrant. You're ruining everything." I'm like, I banned you because you're annoying. You're not proving the opposite right now.
Yeah.
What I would say, what I learned in Desoladies, the most important thing is that you don't know what's going to make the biggest difference to somebody else. So, in our private chats, we talk a lot about things like the grill or cool down or big projects that we do. But people will come up to me or have mentioned in the past and just said, it's so nice to have someone to sit with at TI, or it's so cool that I just played in a stack where, maybe it wasn't even a 5-stack, maybe it was just 3 of us, but knowing that the other people are non-toxic and they're women, like, that's great. So it's not always like the biggest projects that we do. Like, sometimes people just are really happy that they can vent in a space where people aren't going to immediately dismiss them because they're talking about like a more girly issue or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's definitely, like, even a small impact can still be like a huge thing. Or a small thing can be a huge impact, I guess, is a better way to phrase that, which is definitely true. I think, yeah, it is, like, that is, like, another thing about Boston that was really nice was, like, we had, like, a whole row of women, like, sitting together, and it was really nice to just, like, because the camera would pan the audience, and all of us were like, we're all together, you know?
Boston was
And
so
you had,
great.
like, the drawing on your
Oh,
face.
yeah, I did, like, the ad phenom drawing. I was like, hey, camera guy, come here. And they're like, hey, look, it looks like an enthusiastic fan. And I was like, woo, go Spartan. Yeah, that was a good time.
I think the reason Boston worked so well was because it was a smaller venue.
Mm-hmm. I loved the venue.
It was so much easier to run into people and to organize meetups and stuff like that because it was so small.
Yeah,
it was
really intimate.
Oh, it was so intimate. I would love to go to another small venue like that.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Boston was a cool town. I wish I had been able to, like, explore a little more.
Yeah,
but it seemed cool. Like, literally, it was the coldest thing I've never been somewhere that cold before.
I got there like a night early, and Twee was there, and she never saw snow before, so we went and I took her, because I went to school in Boston. So I went to school like a block from where the event was, so I knew like everything around there. And she was just so excited to see snow, and I'm like, okay.
I know. I was so like, snow.
I hate it.
Yeah, it was so cold though. I was not prepared. I live in South Carolina, so it's like I have no winter clothes. I have like one coat, and it's like not even like a puffy coat. It's just like wind cuts right through you, but it was fine. I survived. Super, do you have another question, or we can move on to the community questions if we want to wrap this?
I was just going to ask one of the ones that Max sent me, so we should just move on and give him credit for his question.
Yeah, sure. We can go ahead. So, for like our final section, we did like a little form where people from the community or from Twitter could submit questions to us, and so we're going to go ahead and kind of go through those. So let's see. You said, Mac had some questions for us. So
do you know him? I feel like you know him.
Yeah.
Oh, man, Mac?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know him like super well, but I do. Yeah, I know him like from like Discord and Twitter. He asks, what got you into gaming? Either of you want to jump in?
I can go. So in the village that I was really, really young at the time. The village I grew up in, my dad bought a Mega Drive and a Master System. The Mega Drive, I think, is also called the Sega Genesis in the US, by the way.
Oh, I was like, Mega Drive.
Or is it Master System? I can't remember. One of them is the Genesis. I can't remember which one. It had a different name in EU, but he got a Sega Genesis and a Master System and also a Mega Drive, both Sega. And like, I think he was a pretty casual gamer, but me and my brother just grew up playing those, and I can't remember a time where we didn't have a console when I was growing up. And that's just how me and my brother spent our downtime. Like, gaming has always been a part of my life since I was like as early as I can remember being able to like move my hands, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, and I've always I got consoles after that. The like Sega Saturn, and then moved on to PlayStation, and then I was only I say recently, but I only got into like PC gaming with in my early 20s. Before that, I was console all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what first got me into gaming. Is my dad bought these 2 consoles, and that kind of what I've been gaming ever since, really.
What about you, Super?
Well, the first game I ever played was Heartlight on MS-DOS, and it was a very, very old game. I mean, it's more simple than like a mobile game that you would get right now. You're basically like a little elf, and you went around the maze, and you had to get to the end. But if you went under a bomb, like the bomb would fall on you and blow you up. And I love that game. Like I would just sit. I was like 5 years old. I would just sit in the basement playing this game by myself. Like I've always been that stereotype. But then also growing up, I just always had video games. Like I didn't have a Sega Genesis. I have a Sega Game Gear, the handheld one. I have 2 functioning ones actually in the basement right now. And one of my friends had the Sega Genesis, and then my cousins had the Nintendo, and my dad worked for Sony for most of my life. So we always had PlayStation stuff. And because he worked there, he got a discount on games. So sometimes he would take me into like the office and be like, what do you want? So when the games were selling for really expensive out, in the public, I could get them for a really reasonable price. I could get games for like $10. And this is back when they were like $50 for something really simple. So I always had video games around me. And then during sleepovers in like 7th grade, we would play Twisted Metal, and the parents would always be like, don't you want to play something? Do something like a little more like feminine and like more passive. I'm like, no, I'm playing Mr. Grimm. Leave me alone. And then, during holidays, my cousins had like N64. So we used to play like tons of GoldenEye and have to pass the controller around when you died, because otherwise there was no way all the cousins were ever going to get a chance on it. So yeah, I guess I just always had video games, but I was also really lucky that I was born like right at the time when games were becoming easier to get to rather than being like very, very specialized.
Yeah, I think I didn't really grow up. My parents were pretty anti-technology. Like, well, I won't say that. They were they were like, you guys need to play outside. You don't need to you don't watch TV. You can get like maybe like one PBS show like a day. And then my dad had a computer where he would play like flight simulation games. And he would play Myst, which is like a puzzle game.
Oh, I always wanted that.
And I would always sit and watch him play. And he would let me play sometimes, but like that game is really hard for a kid. It's hard for adults. It's just like, a lot of thinking and like backtracking. And so that was kind of like my first games that I ever watched and observed, but I never really played them that much. I did have like a family friend that had Super Smash Brothers Melee. So it was like my mom's best friend, and her son had, Melee. So whenever we would go over to their house, I would always play Melee with him, and I loved it. It was always really fun. And then moving forward, my cousin ended up getting a GameCube, and so we would play games on that. But like it was always like when I wasn't at home when I would play games, but I always loved playing the games, and I would always look forward to going over to their house to play games because my mom would never get me a console. She didn't get me a console till I was like a freshman in high school. Like she finally flaked and got me like an Xbox 360 and BioShock, and I was like, yes, so because I'd been like watching the trailers for BioShock, and I was like really wanting to play it, and so she finally got one. And we did have like a computer growing up, and like so like here and there would be like kids games like Putt-Putt's Magic Race and stuff, but like that's it was always like very controlled playtime, and like I didn't really play that much. It was mostly like, you kids need to be outside because your brain's rotting looking at the screen. But so I didn't really get into like spending a whole lot of time gaming until I was like in high school and forward. And I didn't get my own gaming PC until I like had already gotten married, and like I think I was like 20, I think, when I got like 19 or 20 when I got like my first gaming PC. So Yeah. It's like a late gamer. So a lot of like the old nostalgia games, like I'm like, I don't really play those, but you know, played some.
Do you want to? Like,
I've been playing Myst and like Riven and like playing those games. They're really
I think
hard.
some of the games when I was growing up would be like Echo the Dolphin, a really shitty version of X-Men. I played a lot of Saga Frontier, played Rascal, the most broken game I've literally ever played my entire life. What else? Did you have like Rocket's New School? And then like the Treehouse
The name
one?
sounds really familiar, so probably.
From Purple Moon. But it was like a very girly kind of targeted video game. Like the Treehouse one was like they were all friends and sometimes they fought and there were like these jewels you had to collect and it was just I didn't really like it. And I also had like a Barbie fashion designer where you would design clothes and then print them out on fabric and then cut them out and put them on your Barbie. So
oh, I will say Neopets. It's not really a game, but I spent so much freaking time on Neopets. Like I would be like supposed to be doing homework in like elementary school, middle school, and I would just be playing Neopets all day. Yeah, and I like learned. I started learning how to code to make like pet pages for my pets. There's like legitimately like a huge generational thing with Neopets, like with especially like girls and Neopets and like learning how to code and like getting into that stuff, which is like a whole different topic that's really interesting. But yeah, Neopets was like a big like thing where like I spent a lot of time on the computer doing, and I got in trouble for it like all the time. But so moving forward, another question from Old Man Mac. What was your first favorite game?
Because that's such a difficult question.
My first favorite
games
game,
like pop to mind.
I would probably say, oh, go for it.
Saga Frontier, definitely. It was for PlayStation, the first PlayStation. And it had like 7 different characters you could pick, and then each of them had a story. But they were all in the same world, so you could go to the same places, and like some of the characters would respond differently, and you could learn like different magic based on who you had in your party. And I never like beat the game, but I played a lot of it, and it was very complicated. And I had to go to like GameFAQs.com to like look up the walkthroughs and stuff, but it basically like absorbed me when I was a kid, and it's just still like fascinating to me. So and there was a gay mermaid, so I liked her. Oh. It was very important to me growing up to have this icon.
There you go. Representation matters. We actually did get a copy of, well, there was like Oregon Trail and Amazon Trail. And Amazon Trail I did play a lot. Like I wanted to I remember like I always wanted to play that game, so I'm going to have to go with that one to be like my first favorite game. Cuz that one was cool cuz it was like a jungle version of Oregon Trail. There were like crocodigators and piranhas. Crocodigators, you know. That was cool. What about you, B?
I think mine must be a game I had for the Sega Saturn. It was called Nights into Dreams. I don't even know how to describe it. You were kind of... I don't even... It was like... It wasn't a platformer. You were on a fixed path and you kind of did rounds round a... I've never played a game like it. I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. It was just... It was kind of like you did laps of like a circuit where you had to go and collect a certain amount of stuff. Like I don't even know I don't even know what genre. I wonder whether it says on Wikipedia like what genre of game it is, because it just says action. That's not... I've never played. Yeah. Oh, well,
really narrows it down.
Someone in chat says with the purple jester thing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yes.
They know.
I actually remember seeing like print ads for that and like comic books and stuff.
Yeah.
But I never I wanted it so badly, but I didn't have the system, so I never got it.
Yeah. Like I've never played a game like it, and I don't even know what I would liken it to. Like it's not a platformer because you're flying.
Mm-hmm.
I can't describe it, but I loved it when I was a kid, and it was probably like the first game I ever had like a real. That's the game I wanted to play. So I guess I gotta go with that one.
Okay, so what about the last question from Old Man Mac is, what is your all-time favorite game other than Dota?
Final Fantasy 9.
Borderlands 2.
I mean, I still want to say Saga Frontier. It's like I can't explain to you how much I love that stupid game. And I see reviews of it now, and people are like, "Oh, it's a terrible game." I'm like, excuse me.
No.
Like,
no, it means
you don't
something.
understand the context. Like, you know, you weren't there, like, back when we didn't have games, really.
Yeah.
You know, it was so limited in everything that you could do. So it was revolutionary for its time, and Saga Frontier 2 was such a disappointment. But if I have to pick another favorite game besides Saga Frontier, I would probably say Fallout New Vegas.
Solid.
Because I played it a lot. And when I first got sick, and when I first, you know, had to start using a wheelchair, and I couldn't really walk, and I couldn't really do anything, and I didn't have a car, and my life was just very miserable, I would just play New Vegas, like, literally every night. Like, that was my world. And, like, going out and exploring. And it sounds kind of sad, but I mean, I couldn't walk, so I couldn't really do anything else.
Yeah.
And my dog is named Veronica after Veronica Santangelo from the Brotherhood of Steel from Fallout New Vegas.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Cute. Veronica
is
very cute.
It was really funny because when I got Veronica, my roommate adopted her sister, and the dog was named Zelda. So I would be like, "Oh, this is my dog. She's named after a video game." And people would be like, "Oh, Zelda." And I'd be like, "No, Veronica."
How could you not know?
Big nerd.
Yeah, I will have to say, I played a lot of Civilization 2 on my dad's work laptop, because he had it for when he would do work on it, and he would let me play sometimes. That game, I love Civilization games. Okay, so another anonymous question. Freshwater or saltwater?
For what?
That's all it says. Freshwater or saltwater? I'm going to go with freshwater, because fuck the ocean. I'm all about rivers and lakes.
I'm going to go saltwater. Because
saltwater.
Snorkeling is great, and so is surfing. Not that I'm a good surfer, but when I have tried it, it's a lot of fun. And I wish I lived next to the ocean so I could surf more often.
All right, well, 2-1, but I'm just saying freshwater is way better than saltwater.
You can't drink float easier. I live by the ocean, so
I do too, and I hate it. I want to move to the mountains so bad.
But you can't even put your feet on the bottom in a lake because it's gross, and lakes are where they go to dump bodies. Like, you can't go to a lake. Like, you get taken to a lake when people are done with you.
You get taken to a lake. You don't go to a lake, you get taken to it.
I'm very against lakes. Like, Old Man Mac actually knows this, but every time they talk about a lake, I'm like, how many bodies are in there? Like, how many monsters are in there? I'm not a fan of it.
That's fair. Everyone's entitled to their opinion on this. I know it's going to get heated if we keep talking about this.
I'm going to end up in the lake.
So, another anonymous question. How do you balance real-life responsibilities with Desoladies responsibilities? Anybody?
I don't.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I really don't.
Thing. Yeah, me neither. It's just...
Time management is difficult. And a lot of times, I think for Desoladies, it is easy to kind of get overwhelmed and kind of burnt out sometimes if you get too caught up in being an overachiever and wanting to do too many things, when in reality Desoladies is not a job. It's all of our it's extra time out of our normal life and schedule. So even though we do have a lot of ideas and big dreams, I think we do have to kind of set the goals smaller, doing a charity event every couple months or whatever, and you know, slowly but surely work up and maybe end up getting into positions and like, our, you know, for me, like I'm in like a better career now where I do have more extra time and I'm already kind of like on Discord for work and stuff. So I can like do more things and I want to do more things, but I definitely feel like, it's not super balanced, but you know, it's mostly just like being, you know, decent time management and not biting off too much more than I can chew.
Yeah.
Which I've done before, but. Anybody else have an alternative point, or is that about the same for all of us?
Same.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first joined Desoladies, I was doing freelance writing work and freelance editing work. And that worked great because I kind of just worked when I felt like it and I didn't have to go anywhere. I had a lot more time and energy. And I'll just say that ever since I got a job in real life, it's just been so hard for me to learn how to balance. And I'm still working on learning how to balance it and having all the energy. Well, I'll never have all the energy for the things that I need to do. My body just doesn't function that way. But I'm trying to be better about it, but I feel like things still always get dropped, and trying not to feel too guilty about what I can't do just because there's so many things that we have done.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. I definitely like circumstances change, and I know like when we kind of first started, like, and you know, when I first joined as a manager, like I was working at a desk job where I just had like 100% of my work hours I could sit on Discord all day and not have to do anything. And so I was very available to like moderate and, you know, work on any documents or anything. But, you know, like things change, you get busy, stuff comes up, you know, and sometimes you're not able to put in the amount of time and effort that you really want to. But I think, you know, just getting to a point where you can like say, okay, here are our long-term goals that we want to continue to work towards, but here are our short-term, more reasonable goals where we're not going to like beat ourselves up because we can't do this thing. You know, and we can just kind of keep doing small things, and even just maintaining the community in itself is like effort and time to, you know, keep social media posts. And like right now I would like to say like shout out to like the people that help us regularly, like Diza and Epi, that genuinely do like, you know, help with like organizing in-houses, and Diza who like does the majority of our social media. Like it's been really helpful for them to step up and like kind of take care of the more like regular small tasks like that so we can kind of focus on more of like the projects and that sort of thing. So
yeah,
that's really helpful. But I think that about answers that question. So the next question, which is another anonymous one: what is your favorite Dota hero and why is it Meepo? Hate to break it to you, but it's not Meepo for me.
Yeah, same. No.
Well, B, yours is Skywrath.
Yes.
Be quiet, Chelsea. It's not time to eat yet. She's meowing. I hope you can't hear it. She's just sitting there staring at me.
I could hear it a little bit.
Yeah.
It was cute though.
My favorite hero.
Yeah, what is your favorite hero?
I'm probably going to have to go with Timbersaw. I have so much fun when I play Timbersaw. I love it.
I was gonna guess Centaur for some reason.
I was gonna guess Centaur too.
Yeah, Centaur. So I love like playing offlane, and I love playing like big, strong offlaners where it's like you mess with me, I don't step on you. But like Centaur is like my fail-proof hero that I play when I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna win this game if I play Centaur. Like he's solid. It's really hard to lose your lane with him. Like he's, you know, and I do have fun. Like I know how to play Centaur like pretty well. Like I feel very comfortable. But I think like when it comes to like a hero that I have a blast playing is Timbersaw. Like when you have a good Timbersaw game, it's like so fun.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. What about you, Super? Well, you said Shadow Shaman earlier too,
Yeah,
and
Shadow
everybody
Shaman.
pretty much knows that. So
It's not a secret.
yeah, it's not a secret. So the next question: when is Desoladies' next charity drive? Well, we try to do Extra Life every year. We have talked about doing more charity events, you know, or just doing more stream events in general. We don't have anything necessarily scheduled right now, but we do like, you know, we really like to do charity stuff. So, you know, hopefully soon we can come up with a plan of the next one.
Like 2 years ago-ish, we did a Valentine's Day stream for the American Heart Association.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be something fun to do again, because it's like
Ooh,
after the holidays are over, but it's still like fairly close because it's February. So maybe we'll think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, I really like that.
Okay, 2 more questions. What is your favorite / least favorite part of 7.20? I will tell you right now, my least favorite part is Naga Siren. Freaking Naga. Annoying hero. And I hate Slark. And I was going to say Slark, but I played against Naga like yesterday, and I had the most miserable, no fun time of my life. And I was playing like a relatively strong character, and I was just getting bodied in lane, and I was like, this is broken. I can't handle this. So Naga's my least favorite, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I gotta pick Slug as my least favorite. I got annihilated by a Slug today, so that's pretty fresh in my mind.
Fresh.
So I'm just like, favorite, I really like the deny change.
Ooh, yeah.
I really like the fact that it gives you money.
I like the new map
like
too, honestly.
I do as well. I really like the changes to the high ground, low ground, stuff like that. I'm a big fan.
What about you, Soups?
Yep.
So, yeah, I also don't like Slark being back, but I am very happy that Dazzle is, because I love Dazzle.
Oh, yeah.
Dazzle's one of my top 3 heroes, probably Shadow Shaman, Dazzle, and Lich. So I'm very happy that I get to Dazzle again.
Oh, yeah.
More dazzling than ever.
Yeah, no, Dazzle's super
all
strong.
3 of those are good right now.
Oh my god, new Lich is like...
Yeah.
Every time I play against a Lich Juggernaut lane, I'm just like, I'm just gonna go jungle, guys. Like, I'm just gonna come gank. I can't do this.
Yeah. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. And the last question is anonymous. How are you all so amazing? Well, you know, now that you say so. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you. I mean, I don't consider myself amazing, but I think, you know, I am very proud of like what we have accomplished so far with Desoladies, and I honestly have like a lot of, I think as long as we keep chugging along and we, you know, keep doing what we're doing, I think that we can, even if it's a tiny, I think we've already impacted the community in a positive way. So,
yeah,
you know, I think that's a pretty amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anybody else have anything to add?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I would like you said, I wouldn't describe myself as amazing, but I would describe you both as amazing. So.
Aw, well,
you're amazing.
You're amazing. You know? Yeah. No, I'm happy that like the 3 of us, I think we make a really great team.
Yeah,
and
we would.
I am like, I consider myself very lucky, and I think it's really amazing that I'm able to work with you two, and I've learned a lot from both of you, and yeah,
likewise.
Looking forward to the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, thank you for watching and for listening to us, you know, talk a little bit about the back end and what it's like, you know, doing management for Desoladies, and maybe you learn some more about the community. And like I said, this is the last episode of The Grill. We're closing out season 2. You can watch all of the previous episodes on YouTube, except for one, which is 100% my fault, and I am so sorry about it. We interviewed Kips, and I lost the video. And I forever feel terrible about it. But it was a really good interview, and Kips is amazing. So, anyways, we will be working on other projects in the future, specifically Cooldown. I really want to try to do more with that show. We did 1 episode, which is also on our YouTube. So stay tuned for more awesome content from us. And if you're interested in applying and you never have before, you can go to our website at desoladies.com. And you can follow all 3 of us at the Twitter links in the, you know, below our cameras. And thank you both for taking the time today to let me grill you. And thank you everyone for watching, and have a wonderful evening or day, depending on where you are.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.